Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. I have another quick, well hopefully it's going to be quick, little project for you. I'm going to be using one of these Dollar Tree tinsel bunnies. It's the head one. And then I have some batting that I have left over from another project. You do not need to buy this. It's a little bit pricey, but it's what I have on hand, and since we're all social distancing, I didn't want to go to the store to buy something different. So I would just buy the cheapest batting that you can, or even use some old fleece that you have around the house. Whatever. This is just going to be used to wrap the form before I cover it. And if you look at the bunny, you see how right here it's bumpy, okay? The wreath form has indentations in it that are going to make it a little bit harder to wrap, but it's also what makes it look a little more 3D. But I don't want this bump showing when I wrap it. So what I'm going to do is just cover it in some of this batting to help soften that. I hope that makes sense. Then I have this old basket liner. I almost threw it away, but I thought, nope, that's good burlap. I'm going to keep it. So it's just wide enough to wrap the head part, and then I'll use another piece of it to wrap the ears individually. Okay, so that's what you need. A bunny, some kind of batting. Don't go out and buy this. Use something you have around your house because it's not going to be seen. This is just what I have on hand. And then you need some burlap, or you could even just use some fabric. I wanted to use some buffalo check fabric, but the pieces that I had left from my Christmas projects, I didn't have enough. It wasn't big enough to cover. So use what you have on hand if you got it, because face it, we should be staying home and keeping away from other people. Okay, so first you got to find kind of where they ended, but I don't see an ending, so I'm just going to pull it off all the way around. There's these little oh, that one's been glued on there. That's different. Usually they're just wrapped around. You may have to cut some of it off to get it started. Goodness, I've never seen one this attached before. Anyway, so I'm saving the face pieces just in case I need them for a pattern, but I probably won't use them, but I am going to use these because I do want to line the ears with something. Okay, now I probably will want these to be a little bit smaller than they are, like just on the inside of these pegs, because they're meant to hook on to the frame. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. What I'm going to do is kind of figure out how much batting I need for this bunny, and I'm going to leave extra on all sides. I think I want to cut this off, this hanger piece, so that I can pull the fabric down. Well, that was easy. I thought I was going to have to get my shears out. So anyway, I broke that off. You can go and spend the time breaking all of these off if you want, but I think that putting the batting on it, it's going to help with that. It's going to soften that out some, so it'll just make it look like a ruffly bunny. And so I'm okay with that part. But I think I want to wrap my ears and the body separately, is what I'm thinking. I don't want to detach my ears. I think I'll just get a smoother finish if I wrap the ears and the head separately. Okay, so now I've got, I'm going to trim this down just a little bit farther. I'm going to start with the bottom. So I'm turning this over so that the rounded part, which is the front, is face down, and my batting is on top of it, and I'm going to glue my batting on all the way around, and it's going to require some clipping and cutting once I get up to the ear section. So I'm going to start down here at the bottom. While I'm going around, I want to make sure I'm keeping some tightness up here. I have it at the bottom. I'm going to put another little slice right here. Okay, so I have these two little strips of batting that I cut off, and I'm going to just kind of spot glue them into the indentations just so that they're held in place. And then I'm going to just trim off the extra, tuck it back behind. I'm going to fill this up with some batting so that it's a little bit more filled in. Now I just have this bag of batting that came from a pillow that my dog chewed up. Save that stuff, you can use it. It doesn't have to be pretty. So I'm just sticking some batting in here because I want my bunny head to be round and smooth. And then when I pull my batting over, I'm going to see a rounded face, not just those zigzag indentation things that are driving me crazy. Alright, so here I go, around my bunny. And I've got this bumpiness, but I think that bumpiness kind of makes him look like a fluffy rabbit. But what I really like is that this is nice and round. So I am going to glue this little strip down just to help keep the rounded shape intact. Okay, now I have two choices. I can cut off all this extra, or I can just glue it down, and that will help kind of cover up some of the ugliness. So I think I'm just going to go with the gluing part and glue it towards the center. So there's the face, and then I need to do the ears. So now I need to make the point, and this is way too much batting to get a good point on my ear. So I think I'm going to pull down first and then come over the edges. I don't really want it to be a sharp point. I know a lot of the times when we see bunnies, we see sharp points. And then I'm just kind of mitering out some of this extra, just so I have a good spot to glue. So glue down the first layer, ouch, and then glue down the second. Alright, there's my bunny covered in batting and ready to be covered in burlap. There's a little hole right there. That's not a big deal. It's not going to be seen because it'll be under the burlap. I'm not liking that this side is rounder than this side. I need to fix that. Okay. Alright, I need to go, and I will finish this project a little bit later. I have to go teach a class to some first graders during our shutdown due to the coronavirus. So we are doing online schooling, and I am responsible for a group of 6 little first graders, and so I must go teach them a reading lesson. So I will be back to finish this afternoon because I will be busy all day. All right, online teaching done for the day. Back to some craft therapy. All right, the first thing I'm going to do after getting my bunny all covered with the batting and making sure he's looking nice, I'm going to cover each of the ears individually because I have this, this was a basket insert, like liner kind of a thing, and I didn't have any full sheets of burlap available, and I didn't want to run out to the store in this craziness and get any. So I'm using what I have, and on this, the big part that went across the bottom of the basket is going to be big enough to cover my bunny head, but I've got a finished seam here that I can roll under and have a nice finished seam that goes across both ears. So I'm going to cover both ears first so that this finished seam can cover up any of the raw edges that happen here from the ears. If you're doing this and you have just a regular sheet of burlap, or maybe you've got a big piece of burlap ribbon, try to turn your ribbon so that the finished edge goes across your ears, and that I think will make the project look nicer in the end. So I'm going to just turn my bunny over, and I'm going to line up, well, I guess I should glue it to the front first. I'm going to put some glue across where the ear joins the head, and I'm going to take it down just a little farther than it needs to go so that I make sure this other piece of burlap has room to cover it. I hope that makes sense. All right, so now I'm going to bring my burlap up. All right, so I'm going to bring it around, and the first thing I'm going to do is I've got it glued down here at the bottom of my ear. Now I want to do the top of the ear and get it glued over so that it's going to look nice. I'm trying to make this as finished as looking as possible. So the burlap's kind of at an angle, so I'm just trying to kind of work with what I've got and how it wants to go. Okay, there's the first ear all wrapped and ready to go. All right, it's not beautiful from the back, but it's not terrible. Next, I have the bottom liner like I was telling you about, and I'm going to turn this over so I have a finished seam, and I'm going to put that finished seam over these rough edges on the ears so that it looks clean. So now I'm going to put glue across the ears and stick my nice piece down to it. I'm going to put this down so that the seam covers all of the messy stuff from the ears, but not so high that, okay, I don't want it to be so high that I can't wrap it around and have it still look like a bunny. Now I have the choice where I can either clip this off or I have to glue it down, one or the other. And this is having a little problem staying put, so I'm thinking I might just glue it down because I can reach. Sorry about my dogs barking. I'm going to pull it and glue it down because it's coming off, it's pulling the batting off as well underneath. So I'm going to tuck and glue that down. I want it stuck down as good as I can possibly get it. So I have one of these infinity scarves from the Dollar Tree. It's in this like denim blue kind of a color. And I am going to take and cut the seam where they sewed it together because I don't want this to be an infinity scarf. What I want to do is I want to use this scarf to tie a bow. And I don't know how much of this scarf I need to be able to do that. So I want to tie a bow around the bunny's ears. I'm trying to decide if I need to put the blue or the gingham print up into the ears. So I'm thinking if I have this bow up here, that it might just be distracting if I have the blue on here. I was kind of thinking, originally I was thinking of tying the bow and doing it around the chin. Let's see what that looks like. Now it would require some hot glue to hold it on in the back. So I'm just trying to decide where I prefer the bow to be. If I prefer the bow down here, then I would want to put the gingham up here. Oh, I don't know. I kind of like that bow down there. I really like how that looks. And then take some of the scrap and make the ear placements for that up there. I think that's what I'm going to do. I cut the ear liners. I haven't glued them on yet. If you buy these scarves from the Dollar Tree, pay attention to them. This one has a lot of problem areas with the print, like the fabric bunched up and it didn't quite get inked the way it should have. Didn't get the dye in there. So just be aware that that's happening. I had a hard time cutting these out because both ends had that dye mark and I didn't want it showing on there. So I'm trying to decide. I think it might be better to glue this on using tacky glue for the ears rather than the hot glue. Ooh, I just found some fabric glue I didn't know I had. It's this Fabric Fusion from Aleene's, and I remember now I got it in these little tubes as like a little sample pack that I picked up probably at Walmart. Maybe a craft store, but it was probably Walmart. I totally forgot that I had this down there. Yeah, that's going on a lot easier. Okay, so now the fun part. Getting it on straight and centered, and I'm just kind of tucking this finished edge of the scarf underneath this edge that I put across the bunny. Anytime you can cut fabric, especially thin stuff like this scarf, and leave the finished edge on it, by golly, do it. Leave the edge on. I hope this doesn't ravel. I'm thinking that this Fabric Fusion glue is probably going to keep it from raveling. I think it's going to be a helpful thing. To put my scarf on my bunny. Okay, so I kind of accordion folded the center of my scarf, and I'm going to take my stapler and just put a staple in it, maybe. The reason I fan folded it is because I want it to be able to open back up and be the full scarf really easily, but for attaching it, I want it to be gathered together because that's going to be easier to glue on. So I'm going to flip my bunny over, and I'm going to find the center of the bottom and put a nice little puddle of glue, and then I'm going to put the scarf center into that puddle of glue and squeeze it down until it's hardened up and dry. This is what's going to help hold it up onto the chin where I need it so that I can tie it. Okay, now that that's glued on the back, I can bring it around to the front and tie a bow. I just really liked this color of blue when I saw this scarf at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, oh, I want to do that as a color for my Easter decor. I don't usually do a lot of Easter decor, so I picked up 2 scarves. I have another project going in the works right now that I've started that's going to use the other one, but I don't have it done yet. So okay, so what I'm seeing is on the back, I also need to attach it over here and over here. Sorry about my dogs barking. They're being noisy kiddos today. Noisy fur babies. Okay, so that's going to help hold it up while I tie. I want this bow to be kind of big and floppy. And then when it hangs down, it'll be perfect. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. I'm really liking it. Alright, that looks better on the back now. I feel better about that. After doodling and erasing with a pencil, I think I'm going to just put the nose and the whiskers on and leave him kind of just out there in the world. Now, I'm thinking of using my alcohol marker, but first I must test it on a little bit and make sure it doesn't blend away. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so let's make sure we get our nose in the center. I'm not trying for full coverage on this. I want it to be light. Doing that on purpose. Okay, there's his nose. And I'm going to do 3 whiskers on each side. Need a little bit longer on this side. Okay. I don't know. I kind of think maybe he does need eyes. But I don't want them to be great big. I'm just thinking little ovals right up above the nose. Yep, little ovals right up above the nose. That's all I'm going to do. Just going to freehand the ovals. Make sure they're the same size or at least similar. Sorry if you hear my iPad going off. It's been a crazy busy day at work today. Lots going on. All right. Voila. I like that face. I think that's cute. And it's not super dark and really daunting and in your face. All right, there you have my finished bunny project. He was a lot of fun to make, and I think he's so cute. He's going to look cute hanging up in my decor for Easter, and I can't wait to find him a permanent home. If you like this project, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. That lets me know what you're thinking about the things I do on my channel. Also, every interaction that I have, every comment, every thumbs up or thumbs down, it helps my channel to grow. So please let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, and if you might maybe go and try to make one of these for yourself. It was a lot of fun. All of the supplies came from the Dollar Tree, except for a few things that came from my stash. And the burlap was repurposed from another item that I was no longer using. All right. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.